With respect to the moratorium, I believe it was the correct decision. I believe it's a correct decision today, and with all due respect to the Honorable Court, we disagree with the Court.
Interior Secretary Ken Salazar making it clear today the Obama administration does not intend to allow a court ruling to end its moratorium on drilling in the Gulf. And we're back now with our panel. So, Charles, what do you make of the judge blocking the president's 6-month moratorium on deepwater drilling in the Gulf and, as you saw there, the Obama administration's determination to appeal the ruling or to issue a new moratorium?
I'm surprised the administration is digging itself into this whole lot deeper. It was just handed an out. First of all, the Gulf states are angry as hell over the moratorium because it's destroying the one remaining industry, the oil support industry. Second, Salazar's own experts that he called in on this have said publicly that they are opposed to a 6-month moratorium. Actually, it endangers safety because if you cap a well, there's actually a period of danger. You might as well keep drilling. And lastly, now they have judicial cover. Now they have a judge, and they could have walked away. The fact that Salazar is sticking with this and that they're going to appeal and they're going to hang in there on this, I think is a measure of how much this administration is in hock to its ecological left. These people are not going to let them go. They blame the Obama administration for the small opening on drilling, which it did before the Gulf oil disaster, and this is the price that they are exacting. I think it's a big mistake, not just from an engineering perspective or an economic. I think it's a big political mistake.
Steve, the ruling by the court was pretty strong and pretty critical of the Obama administration. The federal judge in the case, Martin Feldman, said the administration failed to prove the need for such sweeping action. He wrote, the blanket moratorium with no parameters seems to assume that because one rig failed, and although no one yet knows why, all companies and rigs drilling new wells over 500 feet also universally present an imminent danger. He basically scoffed at the administration's ruling in this moratorium.
It was a very compelling read, the 22-page ruling from the judge. He basically was taking an issue with a matter of degree. He said, look, you've said this and you're doing this, and that's the problem with what you're doing. But the basic logic of what the administration is doing doesn't work. I mean, for 64 days, we've been told that the spill was the result of reckless and irresponsible behavior by BP, which was a departure from standard operating procedures. Now on day 65, Ken Salazar and others in the administration are saying, well, actually, we don't have any idea what caused the spill, so we can't possibly end the moratorium because we've got to find out. Well, which is it? I mean, those two are self-contradicting, and they've got to get their story straight. The question I have for Salazar, I mean, if you look at what Salazar is saying now, he's saying, well, we're going to provide all of this new information, and we're going to tell you why we need the moratorium. Why are you hiding it? I mean, why haven't you been telling us this all along? This sounds like a scramble by the administration to do exactly what Charles is saying, which is ingratiate itself with the political left and the environmentalists.
On the other hand, Aaron, the White House's argument is that it is dangerous, foolhardy to continue deep water drilling until you know what caused, I guess really two things. One, what caused the explosion on April 20th, and two, how you can control it and prevent it from happening again.
Well, that's right, but yet at the same time we had Salazar saying when we issue this new moratorium we may move back a little bit, or maybe we'll allow some drilling. So there's some mixed messages that are coming out here, but I will tell you it's interesting to see the drilling wars reignite on the Hill. I mean, you have Mary Landrieu, other Louisianans, and a lot of Republicans saying, you know, look, this is reasonable, and if these 33 rigs want to drill, they should. And then you have Democrats, particularly on the left, saying absolutely not. This is a disaster. We can't have it. I think at the end of the day, no one's going to be drilling because it's such a politically toxic environment, irrespective of the environmental disaster that we're facing. The politics are so toxic that I think that the companies are just going to say, let's ride it out.
You know, Charles, there was one other interesting and sad development today, and that is apparently one of the underwater submersibles knocked off the cap that was capturing at least some of the oil spill. Now they say they're going to be able to put it back on. But having said that, the president in the State of the in his Oval Office address said that they're going to, by the end of the month, be able to capture 90% of the flow. That's going to be a hard standard to meet.
And remember, when they cut the pipe to enable this new technique of capping, it increased the flow. We don't know exactly how much, but perhaps over 60,000 barrels a day, which is just unbelievable. So I think the president's prediction is really out the window. And it raises the issue, why are we drilling that deep? And I repeat, one of the reasons why we are in water that deep, that hard to fix, is because the easy stuff, the shallow stuff in the Pacific and the Atlantic, and the onshore stuff in the Arctic has been ruled out of bounds. That's why we're out there in deep water, and that's why it's so hazardous. And the environmental left sees an opportunity here to shut down oil production as 3 Mile Island did on nukes, and that's why it won't allow any more drilling.
All right, that's it for the panel, but stay tuned to see the one thing that BP's Tony Hayward has done